Wow, what a great crowd. Thank you for joining us today. For many years, the Raytown Chamber has provided the opportunity for the Mayor of Raytown to deliver the State of the City address. Personally, I've had the honor and privilege to work with every mayor who has been in office since 1991. I have worked with them either as a volunteer, a resident, or an employee of the Raytown Chamber. In April of 2007, I was hired to be the president of your Chamber of Commerce, the same time Mayor Bauer was elected to office. Since then, we have been surrounded by people who have a love and a passion for Raytown. Individuals who not only live here, but work here and want nothing more than to see Raytown thrive. The mayor and I have tried to meet almost every month since he took office to discuss matters that would not only benefit the residents of Raytown, but the business community as well. We have worked together on many projects, events, meetings, resource groups, and much, much more. Early on, we would agree we would take on the challenges, celebrate the community's successes, and do everything we could to promote Raytown. Instead of reading all of David's accomplishments, I decided to introduce him the way Dr. Tim Chirpik, then chair-elect in 2008, introduced him. So at this time, please join me in welcoming to the podium the man of the hour, the Tower of Power, Mayor David Bauer.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Vicki, it's been a pleasure to work with you, certainly, and although we didn't live up to every one of the monthly meetings we talked about, we certainly covered a lot of territory and shared a lot of laughs and a lot of concerns and a lot of joys about where we are in this city. And truly, you'll agree with me that life is good in Raytown. Now that we've established that, we're going to get along just fine. I, too, want to thank the Raytown Chamber of Commerce. Again, Vicki, Kyle, where's Kyle? There's Kyle back there doing his photography work. I saw Laretha also. Where's Laretha? Thanks for being there all the time for me. It was fun working with you when you were president, and I know we're in good hands with Mark Smith as well. To our KCP&L sponsorships, especially Merle. Is Merle here? Merle, thank you for all that you have done for this city. I have to tell you, there's been a lot of times that people had called me and said, my power's out, and I said, let me give you a number. So there's some of you out there have Merle's personal phone number now, but this young lady has taken very good care of our city for a number of years. KCP&L has always been a good sponsor, and Merle, thank you for all that you have done for our city. You're willing to do that, enabled me to give this talk today, and I appreciate that very much. We do have some other guests that I'd like to introduce at this time as well. I'm going to ask them to stand, if they would, and I want to introduce to you Chief Executive, Jackson County Executive Mike Sanders. Mike has led many initiatives for us in the area, in the region. We are close. I like working with Mike very much. He gets it done, and I always like being a part of what Mike has done for this county and for this region as a whole. I have also with me Ron Schaefer. Ron's a friend of mine, a fellow architect. Ron is a new county commissioner in Johnson County, Kansas. Mayor Eileen Weir and her husband Tom. Eileen is the mayor of Independence. Mayor Leonard Jones, City of Grandview. Lyndon with the City of Liberty. Friend of mine as well, Mayor Sly James. You know him as the mayor of the City of Kansas City. I know Sly about as well as I know the other two gentlemen close to the door over there that protect us all today. So, and certainly Randy Rhodes and his wife Marianne. Randy and Marianne are friends of mine. Randy from the city of Lee Summit. David Slater. I saw David come in. There you are. Pleasant Valley Mayor. Now, along the way, we've had some other, we've been called a lot of things as mayors do sometimes, but we take care of ourselves pretty closely. So Carson Ross generated this idea of calling some of us the Amigos. Right, Carson? So as the leader of the Amigos, I want to introduce to you Carson Ross, mayor of the city of Blue Springs. Carson keeps the Amigos in line. And also, I introduced you already, but Randy Rhodes leads the comedic routines for the Amigos. And he is acquiring that task. He's been an understudy of mine for a number of years, but I hereby give Randy the title of comedic routine chairman. And certainly, Kathy Rose is the spark plug for our entire group, Kathy with the city of Riverside. And she is an honorary amigo. So, but my point with this, and I'm honored to have all of you with us here today because I think what we've been able to do as a region has been valuable. And without I couldn't tell you if these folks are Republicans or Democrats, but I can tell you that every one of these people care about their communities and they care about the region. And that we have shared over the years, and that bond and what we've accomplished together says so much to me, and I'm so honored that you're here today, and I appreciate all of your support over the years as well. Also, where's Bob Seago? Don't stand up, but just raise your hand. Bob Seago, when I signed up for this task 8 years ago, I'll back up a little bit. My dad said to me, son, you're going to have to surround yourself with some talent, as you go forth in society. And I got smart. I listened along the way, not all the time, but this time I said, okay, I've got to surround myself with some counsel, as I would call them my counsel. And Bob Seago has been a confidant of mine, a counsel, a person to cry on the shoulder of, a person to yell at sometimes about what's going on in the world. But Bob has been a trusted counsel, and Bob, I appreciate all that you've done. Then there's Jerry Wolf. I was having my car serviced at a local Ford dealership, you know them as Dick Smith Ford dealership, and walked across the street and had breakfast, and I can't remember the name of the restaurant, about 8 years ago, and I met a guy by the name of Jerry Wolf. Jerry Wolf encouraged me. He encouraged me that day. He's encouraged me every single day, and he's been an inspiration to me as well. And Jerry, thank you for all that you have done in this circle of counsel. So thank you, Jerry Wolf. Now, Quentin Clark is kind of the rascal in the group. You know Quentin Clark, he's a rascal. But as a businessman in this community of ours, Quentin has been a standout for many, many years. And Quentin, thank you for being there and being that business person that so many of us look up to and a longtime citizen of Raytown. So thank you, Quentin. Al Brown, I don't think Al Brown made it today, but Al Brown has also been in that group. Al has, I don't know if any of you have gotten little caricature sketches from Al Brown. I still have several of them in my briefcase I carry, so if I'm really down, I can pull it out, and I see that this guy wearing this mask, and it's Al Brown, and it cheers me up. So Al Brown has been an inspiration to me over the years as well. So thanks to Al Brown. Paul Hansen's in that group as well. The other thing I want to say, though, is there have been a number of clergy that have, my own church here today, the Raytown Christian Church, thanks for coming today. I have relied very heavily on the clergy in our community. There are over 60 congregations in our school district area that we prescribe as the community, and that is amazing to me. But I have received tremendous amount of strength from that, and again, a lot of counsel, and occasionally my own minister would see me taking notes in the back. It really wasn't so much that, but I tried to use that, or at least try to quote that at other appropriate times, and always got an inspiration from the clergy in our community. Now, my stepping down, or my decision rather, to not seek a third term gives me an opportunity now, I think, to reminisce a little bit about what has happened in Raytown in the last 8 years. Let's start first with going clear back to what was happening in the world in 2007. The economic development was booming. Houses could not be built fast enough. Stores were being built at a record pace. The Dow was climbing, and life was good. As luck would have it, this young mayor stepped in, and then all of a sudden in 2008, the bottom falls out. December 1st, the Dow dropped 680 points, its fourth largest drop in its history, a declaration that the U.S. economy officially entered a recession. The mortgage crisis was demolishing the housing market. Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy. Unemployment jumped to almost 10%. Really some good things here, right? All of this change affected certainly the city of Raytown, but also affected the region, the state, and the nation. This administration was dealt the hand, if you will, to implement the previously negotiated Raytown Live Agreement, which many of you know as what brought Walmart project on 350 Highway, which also involved the school district and a number of other out parcels for future development. Of course, at that time, we were assured when the deal was done, I'm sure that Walmarts would bring these other area developments with them, but again, in 2008, we saw something different than that. So projects were a little slow, and the pace of many companies, we saw many companies in bankruptcy or severe pullouts as far as the development business goes. We also had 3 Chrysler dealerships close, leaving large areas of 350 Highway abandoned by their properties. The recession clearly was making its presence known in Raytown. But we didn't give up. The progressive aldermen that we had on the board and have on the board worked with our city administrator, Mahesh Sharma, to make sure things happen better and in the best interest of our city. Let me introduce, the aldermen that are with us today. Jim Azier. Stand up, Jim, please. Alderman Charlotte Melson, and just stay standing up, please. Alderman Charlotte. Pat Ertz. Bill Van Buskirk. Steve Mock. Michael Lightfoot, and again, Mahesh Sharma, our city administrator. Were it not for the foresight, were it not for the aggressive nature and professionalism and transparency, we would not be today where we are. And we fought through the recession together, and we're on high notes today. So thank you, everybody that worked so aggressively on the board. This group and your city administration took the bull by the horns and continued the investment in our economic future. We hired an economic development administrator, the same guy that's working these slides, and started to push our efforts even harder. Through economic development and development of public works affairs, public affairs planning efforts, and I've never gotten that right, through economic development and public affairs planning efforts, we were able to redevelop the 3 Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep sites. Today on those dealership properties, we have a new Hy-Vee convenience store, Chipotle, Aldi's, Jimmy John's, GameStop, and an IHOP, all of which immediately began to breathe new life into our city, not to mention revenues immediately. Actually, over the last 8 years, we've attracted over 80 new businesses. Over the last years, we have attracted 80 new businesses. Including a new Hy-Vee, a new Sutherland's, Extreme Karting, one of Steve Mock's favorite Olympic wrestling trainers, Highland Manufacturing, 3 Feathers Construction, Dunkin' Donuts, and numerous others. We were getting things to happen while many cities were still struggling. We continued our downtown revitalization. Even though our revenues were dropping, our professional staff used their expertise to acquire over $2 million in grants for downtown revitalization. Now, these grants, along with help from our friends, Congressman Claver and County Executive Mike Sanders, enabled us to build a new 63rd Street bridge and clean up a previously blighted area, now known to many of us as the green space. These grants are also why a new streetscape will be developed along 63rd Street. I know you're wondering when that's going to be. We're still in the process of getting it through the state for review, but we are very, very close. Still, while we were waiting for those to happen, We had a revitalization of the Raytown Plaza, a new high-end laundromat, home skillet, North Craft reopening, newsroom cafe, got some great biscuits and gravy there, by the way, quilt shop, planned Family Dollar, new owners of Bonetti's, 63rd Street, Center 63 Boutique, and of course the UPS store, all happened within the last 8 years. Chris Payne with us today? Chris Payne did not make it. Am I still good with this next announcement? Tom Cole, are we okay with this? This is a big deal. Everybody knows Chris Payne, right? Chris Payne is a guy who doesn't like to get a lot of attention, but he's made a lot of difference in our city. Chris has stepped into a number of our properties that were blighted, that needed work. Chris stepped in and acquired those properties, turned those properties into good money-making ventures for himself and certainly additional tax revenues for us. Chris acquired the GE building, used to be the GE building there, the multi-story building just barely inside of our city limits, 63rd and Blue Ridge Cutoff. But Chris also stepped up very recently. There is a building just down, actually across 350 Highway from us, that we fought several years ago to try to keep them here. I'm going to say this because this is my last State of the City address. They thumbed their nose at us and went to build a new building downtown to attract a lot of other people in the recreation community that, frankly, I have not seen any movement on whatsoever. Chris Payne has acquired that property. He's done a lot of investigative work about what will happen in that, but the biggest thing for us is that property returns to the tax rolls, it returns to use by our citizens, and gets that other entity out of our minds and let them go build their other business downtown. During the last 8 years of tough times, every department at City Hall, led by our city administrator, has made a difference in how we've done business to not only be fiscally responsible with our taxpayers' monies, but to move City Hall to that point where you're not just talking about transparency, you are demonstrating transparency. Problem solvers are there, and we have a proactive group of staff members all working at the city to make it a better place, a better work environment for all of us. Also, it seems that the last 7 years I've made this same announcement at every single one of these. You will be thankful tomorrow morning when you wake up for our Public Works Department. I'm told more snow is coming in. Yes. I was driving home from downtown Kansas City, and this is not slide. Don't think about this yet. But as I was driving home, Kansas City streets were fine. When I got to I-70, it was a different deal. My goal was to immediately get off I-70 as soon as I can and get onto a city street of Raytowns so that I could get home more safely and less sliding. And these people in Public Works, a good friend of mine, Larry, was with Public Works for a long period of time and recognizes this, but these guys are tireless. They take it seriously. You know, it's okay to give them a hand wave. Don't give them any finger waves. Give them hand waves when they drive by with the plows. And, you know, they've got a tough life also. They've left their families that night to be out shoveling and snow plowing all night long. They take it very seriously. And be sure to thank them. As Jonathan Yu said in our Facebook page, I admire them, and I admire what Public Works does as well. Roads are important to all of our residents, obviously. Roads are also very expensive to maintain. In 2007, we were struggling with maintaining our roads and finding the money to keep our roads alive and our infrastructure strong. But we've managed to now pave and work through all that. We've paved almost 68 lineal miles of roads. We put in 15,000 feet of curbs. I know you're taking notes. 15,000 feet of curbs and 48,000 feet of sidewalks within the last 5 years alone. Public Works has also implemented a cleanup coupon that our area residents can take their debris to the recycling center anytime during the year they want to. By bringing in grant money, we've been able to complete projects in sewers, stormwater, building and grounds projects, and streets. I know you're all excited about this stuff too. but you become excited if it doesn't work for you. The city was able to bring in over $8 million in the last 8 years in grant money. $8 million, which supplemented the dedicated sales tax our residents voted for last year. The city also leveraged those monies into $31 million for various projects, including the wooden bridge, the gateway monuments at the entrance to our city, and it was all paid for additional work on our stormwater mitigation program. Again, more exciting stuff about our sanitary sewer pipes, but we need them. Public Works has been able to replace and repair thousands of feet of lines that have greatly decreased the backups that do become important to you. Many of you saw the work on White Oak, which was a huge project for us. For those residents that utilize the White Oak system, we thank you for your patience. As we learned right along with the Google Fiber installation, sometimes making progress is painful, but we're all better off with the White Oak system in place, and we thank you for your patience with all that. Our finance department was able to identify over $500,000 that either saved us one-time monies or ongoing savings. This included such things as moving to a mail service for sewer billing, refinancing of our sewer bond. And through efforts by both the Finance Department and Public Works, we have not had to raise our sewer rates in 4 years. The only city, I believe, to be able to say that in the Little Blue Valley Sewer District. For years, our Neighborhood Services Division only had code violations to maintain properties in Raytown. I will tell you that when we started 8 years ago, there wasn't a system in place that if you had called the city and you had a certain complaint about a neighbor's grass and you asked what was going on with that, there was no tracking system in place. So you weren't able to be assured that somebody in City Hall was actually taking care of business. 7 years ago, I remember asking the question, and that's when we realized that there was no tracking system there. I said, how do we compare this year versus where we were the year before? The answer was, we don't know. We didn't have a tracking system in place. Today we do. Today you can call City Hall, you can talk about your neighbor's grass. We take those complaints very seriously. We have a number of code officials that are out working those complaints. And if you don't see you're not happy with it another week, you call back and they tell you exactly where it is. Now, painfully enough, legally, we can't just run out and start doing things, and the mayors know that here. We can't run out, and Randy Rose doesn't mow the grass, the complaints in his city any more than I do. But there's a process in place, and we've demonstrated that process. We've put it into effect. You can call at any point in City Hall, talk to Mr. Peterson, and you can find out where the status is on a certain complaint, and we are able to track it, and we're getting things done. And I think that has made us better. It improves our property values, and that helps all of us in our city. We've also negotiated and collaborated on several programs that directly help properties in Raytown. The Neighborhood Stabilization Program, formerly known inside City Hall as NSP3. It's a program that has built 5 houses, with 2 more houses almost done. These houses have either been empty on vacant lots, or empty or on vacant lots. We've acquired some property as well, or were so run down that they had to be demolished and rebuilt anyway. The money made on the sale of those homes is put right back into obtaining those properties. And I will tell you, the neighbors around these properties love the fact that we have stepped in with this program. We got so many calls from the neighbors that said, thank you for doing this. We encourage it. We found neighbors all the rest of the way down the street improving their homes, their properties, because they have seen an insurgence of help from the city and from this program to making their own neighborhood better, their streets better. That equates to so many different things. It gives a sense of pride. It helps with security on the streets. And the other thing it does, most importantly, I think, is it gets people out talking to the neighbors. When you know the neighbor 3 doors up from you, you may be talking about when to mow your yard, but you're making contact. The contact in our neighborhoods amongst ourselves is so vitally important to all of us in this community because it builds that sense of place that we're so hungry for. This is one of the programs that helps us with that. But so many good things like that are happening in the city. We also have a program that takes a proactive approach to either demolishing or rehabbing homes. If the city has deemed these properties to be dangerous and abandoned, we now have legislation in place to be able to demolish those homes and clean that property up. Our development department works with Builders Development Corporation to get receivership of those homes that can be saved. Once the court gives us the go-ahead, we remodel the home. Our first house to get this remodel is at 8605 Elm. As you can see, they're already hard at work on some of the other homes, and a new owner in the neighborhood can be proud of these homes when they're in place. We're active still with Habitat for Humanity. I'm pleased to announce a new partnership with the Truman Heritage Habitat for Humanity and the city, which will develop a small home repair program. This will help those individuals that either cannot afford or cannot do the actual work needed to maintain their own home. Using grants, volunteers, and donation, the work will be able to be performed at no cost to that homeowner. What a great way to help our less fortunate and older adults in our community. I'm also excited about a new partnership between Habitat and Wells Fargo Bank that is going to benefit Raytown. The bank has donated a home that had been foreclosed upon, and rather than build from the ground up, we're now rehabbing that home. Who doesn't love puppies? And we don't want to forget about our pets. In the next few weeks, you will see efforts by our Animal Control Division working with Public Affairs to initiate a new Lost and Found and Adoption Opportunity program on our website and social media. And if you've ever answered your phone about a passionate dog owner who's missing their dog or has been impounded in your city hall, that's an interesting conversation. And we recognize that because we all have passion. I somehow even still have passion for that cat of my wife's. I don't know why, but I still have passion for that cat. And I'm pretty sure that if the cat ever escaped the house, we would probably still go looking for that cat. One of us would. But what's very important to the pet lovers in our communities is the fact that we do have this Lost and Found program. Chipping is very easy and so commonly done, and those are simple ways to return those pets. So we thank you for your patience. John Benson has worked very hard to put this plan into effect. He's running a number of dog advocates to help us with this program, and it's a great program, and we're looking forward to again, keeping our pet owners in our city happy. Another group certainly to keep happy are those in the aging community. And finally, we're working with the region on how to deal with the changing age and diverse population, the demographics of which we have here in the Raytown area, those residents through a program called the Kansas City Communities for All Ages. Our city was one of 3 pilot programs that received grants through the Pfizer Foundation to study what is going to be needed to make the needs of the changing demographics in our city complete. This work resulted in an idea book and a checklist that will be used across the nation. Our city was involved with this, or a checklist that will be used across the nation to improve lives and provide a livable city developed here in the city of Raytown. We believe in open government. It is important that our citizens can get information easily and when they need it. That is why we hired a public information officer. And in less than 2 years, we have gone from just a website that was difficult to navigate, that now you have information you can get from the city from a multitude of ways, and we receive your voice through the website as well. We have a Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and our community engagement platform, and I'm still getting help from my daughters and my wife in how to Facebook, how to Twitter, and use this thing called Pinterest. But they're still working with me on that. That's available to you now. Engage Raytown is a program that we put into place to help hear from you, to volley some questions, if you will, to gain comments from you, and we encourage you to use that. It's an opportunity, again, for you to talk with us. You can talk with the mayor on this. You can talk with any of the department heads, any of the the aldermen, on any pertinent topics on this Engage Raytown. So get on that and use it. We've also implemented a new community-wide newsletter. It goes directly to 15,000 households 4 times a year, and that is a big deal to get that communication in. I get excited when people talk about how much fun it is to read that. We've looked for a number of ways to communicate. We've got 2 great papers in the city. Certainly, I know you tune in to try to pick up all the news you can in our city council meetings. I know those are riveting also. But this newsletter gets it out there. And it's 4 times a year, and it goes to every household. So we're excited about what's happening with that. 2 weeks ago, we opened a new website. The response has been tremendously positive as well. You can now fill out forms right online, and they are automatically sent to the correct person. So now, for example, if you're wanting to fill out a building permit, you can do it on a Saturday night. It goes directly to the permit tech for processing. And again, this is done on your schedule, not an 8 to 5, Monday through Friday task. Your schedule, responsive to your needs, your business. We're there. The new website also offers a complete book on how to do business in Raytown. This ebook takes a person from the concept of doing business through opening the business itself. The website also offers you 2 ways to get information from us, either by text message or email. And our residents get key information sent directly to them. We have a How Do I section. I use that a lot. This helps visitors to our website that can get information to us. They can learn quickly from us in 2 short clicks about what is going on and how to make things happen. Exciting stuff, but we're getting it done. Something also you're going to be terribly excited about is that today we can announce that we're going to be offering live streaming of our exciting Board of Aldermen meetings and our planning and zoning meetings. You would be surprised how many people do that. I can be ushering at church, and I have some friends of mine that come through, and they'll say, wow, I saw you on TV the other night, and it's like, why do you watch the government channel? And I don't know if there's just nothing else on Tuesday nights, but why in the world would you watch the government channel? People do it, and it's a form of communication for them, and it means a lot to them. I've been corrected before about keeping my head down too many times when I'm reading something. Or if I look up too many times, they say, your hair glows with light, so be careful. So it's funny, but people watch that. It's important to them. And today, we can announce now we're going to be live streaming planning and zoning as well as the Board of Aldermen meetings. We're also with this going to be able to index with that. So it'll dial you up, and it'll tell you, oh, by the way, the mayor's going to give his public comments now, or his comments from the mayor, and you're going to specially tune that in at exactly 7:10 to receive those important mayor comments streaming into you live at that point. I joke about it, but it's today's technology. It's today's age, and we are up to speed with what is going on in the city of Raytown as far as the technology. We also offer a new mobile-friendly phone app, which will roll out in the next couple of weeks. Finally, in just a few weeks, you'll have the availability to pay online for almost anything at City Hall, including business license, building permits, pet license, and court fines. Again, doing business on your time frame, not just when City Hall is open. We talked a little bit about Google Fiber earlier. I'm going to brag a little bit because, again, we were the first city outside of Kansas City to have brought Google Fiber in, and many of you are enjoying this now. I know it was painful a little bit when the trucks were going through and the driveways were being torn up. Hopefully all that's taken care of. You're happy with that, and you are enjoying Google Fiber in the city of Raytown. I thought sure that'd be an applause. I had a pause for applause. Okay, now we're complete. Our emergency medical services, the EMS department, has been amazing in their care of our most neediest citizens, those with health emergencies. With a response rate of under 5 minutes, they are able to save lives. The car seat program has also provided car seats and inspected car seats for hundreds of families. I myself, as a grandparent, went to the EMS a number of years ago and got car seats installed in our cars for 2 of the 4 grandchildren I have with us today. Their EMT classes have consistently been scoring 100% on their qualifying test. We're getting the next generation ready, and their work in the community at events and speaking engagements has been impressive. Of course, our police department is doing its consistently great job this year as well. They've hosted drug take-back days, safety presentations at the Mid-Continent Public Library, citizen police academies, and a national night out to strengthen neighborhoods and explain and demonstrate the number of programs and equipment available to the great officers serving our great community. Another vital program that they have offered is the Community Emergency Response Team, otherwise known as CERT. We've taken a number of our own citizens. The police department has trained them to be ready in case of an emergency in our city. You can also see them volunteering at many of our area events. Parks and Recreation continues to maintain some of the finest parks in the region. Terry Landers, thank you for all that you've done so many years on that committee. And are there other park board members present by chance? Okay, Terry, thank you. Pass that back to your park board. It's been an interesting year. I know we've taken on a lot of challenges, but I'm very excited about what the park board is doing. This year, they will go through a major process to develop a master plan for the entire park system, including Super Splash. This hasn't been done for a very long period of time, but what we wanted to gain from that was we want to look ahead to see what is happening in our parks. What is it that our citizens are calling for in our parks so that we can properly plan financially on what the future needs of our city and these young people are going to want in our park systems. The plan will also see how best to use these funds to the benefit of our residents and those that use our parks. Many of our parks are used by non-residents, and they're welcome to use our parks as well. It'll produce multiple ways also to get feedback from you, including focus groups, public meetings, and a citywide survey. Please be sure you take the time to answer those surveys and contribute information to what you want in your park system. Now, again, I want to thank Terry and I want to thank the board and our Board of Aldermen because Super Splash will be open this year. My kids grew up at Super Splash. My wife and her friends spent time at Super Splash. It's very important to all of us, and a lot of us have a lot of passion towards that. We have to support our own park systems. Get out, promote this. This is an important asset to our community. There's a lot of water parks out there, but where else can you go with those that you go to school with, your neighbors, and enjoy a day at the water, enjoying the sun with your family? It's open. It's going to be open this year, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it open, but you have to help. Get your families there, get your neighbors there, get your kids there, and be a part of what's happening in the city of Raytown by utilizing Super Splash. That same tone, we want you to get out and get involved. We've got a number of boards and commissions that you can always volunteer for. The pay that you get monetarily isn't that great, but what you get out of it in a reward is invaluable. Such programs as Council on Aging, the Human Relations Commission are very strong and have done a lot for our community. We're always looking for people who are passionate about Raytown, and it'll keep us moving forward. Shepherd Center this past year celebrated an award, a regional award they received by the Mid-America Regional Council for their excellence in helping the aging community. Shepherd Center, if you don't know who they are, get out and see what they're about and see if you can't be a part of that. You would be surprised how many of your friends and neighbors are already volunteers with Shepherd Center and the other many groups we have such as that. So to use a familiar quote, we took lemons and we made lemonade. We're in a better place today. We have elevated this city's exposure to new heights. I am proud that Raytown held a seat on the Missouri Municipal League, MML, board this past number of years. I'm proud that we held a seat on Mid-America Regional Council. Marlene Nagel is with us today. Marlene, thank you for being our leader, Mid-America Regional Council. All that you do with David Worm and your staff is much appreciated by all of us in the region. I'm proud that we held a spot on that executive board as a board treasurer. I'm proud that we also hold a seat on the Governor's Task Force. We had a meeting on Monday, a group that's formed to help with the Economic Development Board Award. You've heard a little bit about that. I will tell you that many of the mayors who are in the room with us today, led by Sly on the phone with us, had the pleasure of discussing with some of our fellow mayors and legislators on the Kansas side the importance of putting aside this petty border war issue of stealing. I'm borrowing your words here, Brent. of borrowing businesses from Missouri, taking them to Kansas, and they're offering incentives over there. It's crazy. Hundreds of millions of dollars, in my opinion, are wasted in fighting those issues. Could we maybe take the same money and apply it to our schools, our education programs? Yes. Missouri mayors with the legislators, Kansas mayors with legislators are now talking about how to get this done. And I'm proud to be a part of that. It's also been important to me, and I've been happy to play a part of this, that led by Mayor David Slater. Again, Sly's an important part of that, as are many of the members. We have a very active now Kansas City Mayor's Caucus. This is important to us because, again, it brings all of us together for common issues. It helps us put together a common legislative agenda to take to our state legislators. When we fight things together in a more unified manner, we are much, much better off than if we were fighting them individually. The other thing we've done, though, is we now have expanded it. For some reason, for years, we thought that St. Louis was ahead of us as far as the activity by the mayors over there, and we thought that they were more active with their legislature. Interestingly enough, when we've been meeting this past year, we find out that they're envious of our Kansas City area mayors here, and they have joined us now, so that now we have a mayor's caucus made up of Kansas City in joint venture with the St. Louis mayors, and together, both major metropolitan cities' mayors are now going to the state legislature to fight common issues. Also, the city has been represented now to be a part of the KC Rising program. What we learned about KC Rising and what this program is about is that when we came out of the recession, the Kansas City metropolitan area was way behind in keeping up with cities who were progressively going about recovering from the recession. So KC Rising program is about finding a way within the next 20 years and measurable accomplishments in the next 20 years to sustain ourselves, regional ecosystem that allows individual companies to increase their traded goods, a cycle of prosperity where each industry is dependent on the success of each other and works together. Insurance at the city region continues to be a place of choice to live and to do business. We're looking to increase the region's job and economic output through growth, and we want to make sure it's keeping pace with our peer cities, and actually to improve upon that and to be the leader among our peer cities. It's also the intention is to help the median household income, which currently is falling, to raise above new levels and to be in 20 years, again, the place that you want to live in the United States. So many of these things are being accomplished. Many of the committees that we have formed are being made up by some of the mayors you see with us here. Randy's going to be a part of the commission with us. Eileen's a part of one of the commissions, also the committees, and I thank you for that. I'm involved in the steering committee. I'll be maintaining that role on the steering committee. But this is a big deal, and when you sit in that room, I will tell you, I'm humbled to sit in the room on the steering committee with some of the folks. You got the chairman of the Hallmark Card sitting next to you. Raytown is at that table making things happen, and I'm very proud of what we've done with that. Now, I'm told that occasionally some folks here in Raytown enjoy a good beer. Occasionally. How many of you are aware of the new Crane Brewing Company locating in our downtown? I'm not sure, is Mr. Crane with us here today? Did he make it? Okay. The Kansas City blog, which is a metro-wide blog, named this brewery, soon to be located in downtown Raytown, one of the 10 things they're most looking forward to in 2015. This brewery was voted the best brewery on the horizon of craft beer, Kansas City. You spend 30 seconds talking to Michael Crane about this brewery, and you're going to love the excitement that he has in his heart and spirit for this community. And that is why he chose Raytown to be his home for this new brewery. Now, I didn't forget them, but I wanted to make sure I could get this through. Some other folks I want to introduce to you today and to thank, of course, my family. Thank you for your support and love. My wife, Mary, my son, Jeff, my daughters, Julie and Kelly, their spouses, Sean and Josh, are here. and some other new members to our family who have come along in the last 8 years since I've been doing this, my 4 great-grandchildren. Not great-grandchildren, but my 4 grandchildren. I still blew it, hon. I still blew it. My 4 grandchildren who are just awesome, and my world revolves around, and I'm looking forward to the coming years, the coming months of spending more time on fishing trips with these grandkids, more time fishing with my good friend, Lake Taneycomo. And yes, I want a commitment from you right now, Larry, that you will continue to tie my flies when we're out there in the middle and those darn fish are biting and you're catching them. I need help tying those lines and getting them done. So I have your commitment, right? All right, good. I'll continue running you up on shores by motoring the boat. You keep tying those flies for me. Seriously, I am looking forward to more time with family, enjoying those times. I get so much pleasure out of reading to the kids, the grandkids, playing on the swings, little things that I should have stopped and paid more attention to. Simply playing catch with my grandsons is a big part of my life. Jet just signed up for T-ball. I am so looking forward to T-ball. I just got to refrain from talking about, how to do it and all, and I'm going to pay attention to what Mike Sanders did with his son, who's active and quite an athlete. And Mike, I'll take a lead from you in how to work with that and work with these kids. But I'm looking forward to that. I am truly blessed to have the family that I have, who have been as supportive as they have, and I love them dearly. So, Raytown. Let's take pride in what has happened to better our city over the years. But more importantly, let's take pride in what is on the horizon for our city. We have a great future. Thank you, Raytown, for what you've given to me in the last 8 years. It has truly been an honor to serve you as your mayor. I've learned a lot. I've learned who friends are, and I've learned the difference between friends and acquaintances. But I have been honored for the past year, every single day of my life, to carry your banner in all of the activities, everything that we've done. I'm honored, I'm privileged. Life is good in Raytown. May God continue to bless this city and this great country of ours, the United States of America.